Hello, everybody. How's it going today? So, thank you very much for joining me. It's now January the 26th. It's a Tuesday, and this is going to be a fairly interesting video today because the topic is going to be let me just fix this actually really quickly. The topic is going to be on budgeting. And it takes me back really far to when I think of myself going through school, right? So it's a very lengthy topic for me. And just to catch you up very quickly, kind of about myself, right? So I used to be a mechanical engineer working as like a chill beam designer, pretty much, right? Doing HVAC work and had other jobs before, as like project managers, assistant managers for commercial companies or commercial bids that we would do on, right? So a little bit experience in that field there. And then I was also working a lot in sales. Maybe that's why I speak a little bit more concisely than if I didn't, I guess. So a lot of experience with like people, etc. as well, right, with the public. But then one day I started getting into a really bad position, and I'm gonna explain all to you guys. Like I was partying a lot back in my younger days, like in my late 20s, right? I'm 36 now, and even in my early 30s, I was partying my life away. And it was not healthy. Like we're talking about, the typical rock star type of lifestyle, right? And it definitely wasn't healthy for my life at all. And it took me a point to, and I didn't really know anything about budgeting or even growing money back then, right? Even though I was an adult with my own place, etc. And it just blew my mind when I was first exposed to the stock market and how people actually made money from it. I was watching a ton of videos that really inspired me so much. I was watching a bunch of like old Timothy Sykes videos where he was interviewing this guy that I remember very well, named is Stephen Ducks, where the kid turned like I think $100,000 to like 900K in a few months, and he was talking about big losses and stuff. And that's when I realized, you know what? What am I doing? So I started to learn how to trade about 5 years ago, learning technical analysis. I used to go on Poloniex, and then I would just look on the 5 minute chart, and then I would try to figure it out. I didn't know what anything meant. And then I saw, hey, what's this RSI? Then I started researching about it. Hey, what's this MACD? Started researching even more. And then 2 years later, right? Actually, 6 years ago, I started learning. So then 2 years later, which is now four, like 2 years after I started, so I guess 4 years ago then, or six, then basically I put in about 10 to 16 hours a day of hard work of learning how to trade and trading. And it got to the point where it really brought up this big topic of how the fudge sickles can I grow something little to something small in the greediest period of time. Yeah, the greediest in the shortest period of time. And of course, that comes down to basically investing, right? At first, that's what I thought long term holds. Then I realized maybe I can trade on the lower time frames for swing. And then I figured out what day trading was, and then that really opened up my life. And then when I learned how to scalp, day trading and scalping is a completely different thing, in my opinion, right? Some people wait for that perfect trade once a day or twice a day, and they ride it for like hours. Whereas me, I'm usually in the trade for less than 30 minutes, right? I ride that volatility like no man's land. And so that's where I really started to learn how to grow something small into something astronomical, which I've proven so many times in all these videos of mine, right? But before we get into the budgeting video, like we have to really understand how we get to that point as a person, as you grow as a person to get to the point where you realize, it's important for me to have a balance in everything in my life. And in this particular case, of course, it's going to be financial, right? That's what we're talking about here, right? And like I mentioned, I was partying my life away from literally like 20 to 31 about. And there's a point where you just grow up, right? And I don't know if you guys remember, but I did go to rehab 2 years ago, right? It wasn't mainly for myself, I think. It was mainly to experience what it was and for someone else, my partner at that time, which I don't regret anything at all. It was a bad point in my life. But eventually you just realize that your responsibilities add up, you know and like and this is going to relate to a lot of different things, right, when it comes to the budgeting. And what I'm finding is that like memory is really important, okay? And when I'm talking about memory, I'm talking about all the good things that have ever happened in your life that make you feel really nostalgic, right? And I think that like how vivid our imagination is, like that's really, really important. And sometimes our imagination or what we want, it really does get mixed up because it coincides with how we used to be like before, right? And usually I find that like what life throws at us, it's never up to us. And we have no choice. But what we do with it is 100% ours. And no matter what life throws say at me, I'll turn it into a possibility. And nothing is ever made a problem to me because I know I'm not a problem, right? Because maybe what a problem is for you could be a wonderful possibility for someone else. So I treat life very preciously. And because it's so precious, everyone that I love, they're also precious to me. So I ask myself deep questions that help me grow as a person. And if I don't grow as a person, then how can I grow financially, right? So if life is precious, what are you going to invest it in? What are you going to invest your time in? What is worth our precious time to focus on and be happy? So as you sit there right now, okay, as you guys sit there, your life is ticking away. And to me, life is a combination of time and energy, right? It must be proportional. This energy that you call life, how will you invest in it? If only you do something worthless, right? Then it's going to feel like a really long life. But remember the best times that just flew by and you wished you had more time? I think that only miserable people have a long life. And very joyful people, their lives pass like that. You ever remember those really happy times where you just couldn't even tell that a few hours passed by? Or do you remember maybe fighting with your partner or stressing out about work or something major where that 1 hour feels like an eternity? So remember that only miserable people will have a long life. And joyful people, they live their lives really quickly and it just goes by. So what happens within you must be determined by you. What happens around you, it'll never be 100% determined, okay? You have no control over that. But if you work hard, you might have a little more influence about what can happen to you, but still otherwise if you do less work, right, then of course you'll have less influence, but you'll never have 100%. And we must understand that we do not have control over what anyone says to us or what happens to us. And we must make the best of every single possibility and not see it as a problem. Because we always have obstacles and life is going to keep throwing shit at us, usually more bad than good. And I'm only starting to realize that very recently. And that's why I'm in a position where, hey, 2017 or 18 voted best trader on Bitcoin.com. 2019 made the top 6 list. 2020, no list has come out yet, but hey, man, I've earned my position to be able to say this, and I'm comfortable, right? So outside situations are always like that, where you don't have control over it, and it should be like that, because if the world happened exactly as for you, then what happens to me? Got to have a little bit your way, got to have a little bit of my way, got to have a little bit of someone else's way, and that's fine. That's compromise. But what happens here, right now, within me, is my way. And you can see that after many years of something bad happening, if you look back on it then, maybe you were in a really bad spot. But now I know that you see it as a blessing. If you're ever put through a horrible experience, you can either use that experience to come out a better human being, or you can use that experience to become a horrible mess. So when something horrible happens to you, you can either be wounded or you can be wise. And consciousness, it's not whether, like doing the right thing, right? Making the right decision. The consciousness is not, it's not whether it's present or absent, right? It's always there. The question is usually the intensity of it. So let's give you an example, right? So let's say there's a light bulb right here, okay? This is a light bulb. Actually, this right here that you guys see right here, right? If you and I are standing right here together, and this is very bright right now, and let's say the room is pitch black if the lit wasn't on. We turn on the light and it lights up the whole room right here. You see everything going around you, and you see all the people around you too. You and I are right here though. But what happens if we do this, right? If we dim it, if we dim this light, okay? I'm just gonna give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. Let's just say now all of a sudden that this is kind of how I treat my life, and I swear by trading philosophies. So now let's just say that I turn off these lights, right? And now it's really really dim, right? Really really dim, and it's only you and I here. we can only see each other, right? We can only see each other. We can't see everything else around us or the people around us. Therefore, it is up to us, right, to make sure this light never goes out and that the intensity of it is very strong, because this intensity will allow us to make the right decisions in my mind. And talking about myself from the perspective of an addiction, I usually have two big battles that I have every single day. That's honestly why I'm not here sometimes, guys, that you don't know about. I'm an addict, right? I used to be a crazy alcoholic. Like, I used to do everything that you can imagine, the party lifestyle. But now I don't need that to be happy, because I've got all these external things that make, or internal things that make me happy. I've got the motivation with my career to help you folks. I've got the crazy motivation to love my girlfriend unconditionally and be the most patient and best man that I can be. I'm very happy with this lady of mine, and I have some major goals with her. So I've got lots of things to look forward to. I'm moving into a new place right now, guys. I don't know if you know. Okay, I'll show you it. It's actually gorgeous. So I got a lot of things on the go for me right now. My girl and I are moving it. Well, she'll move in slowly because she's she's got a lot of stuff. So just got like a 2,200 square foot loft, right? This is amazing. It's huge, guys. It's over 2 floors. We own the entire second and third floor, and there's a rooftop patio, two-person shower. It's a gorgeous place. So, I've got this to look forward to. I've got my job with you guys. I've got trading, right? I'm running a lot. I lost 13 pounds since December the 11th. I'm actually getting back into really good shape. It doesn't show, but trust me, it shows on the scale. And I'm really working myself mentally up there as well, right? And this does relate all to budget, because everything needs to be in balanced for us to be thriving in another key area in our life. So what I'm trying to get to is that we must make this intensity of our light brighter, and how we do that, right? How we can get more awareness, how we can have more consciousness, is by making sure that we focus on exercising this brain. This brain of mine, guys, I made notes. I'm really prepared for this class that I'm making. I apologize if you guys saw that, but it's important to have notes, right? So what I'm trying so hard right now to battle two things that make me stay away from you guys for some time like this, right? And the number one thing that I battle every day is a craving because of my addiction. And then number two, right, that I battle is the reinforcement of sobriety. Okay? So there comes the point where an addict will have such a tremendous craving. And I've been around people where they just try to avoid being there to limit their exposure, right? I don't want to see it, I don't want to hear about it, but and so I won't do it if it's not around. I don't think that's the best approach, coming from someone with experience and also went to rehab. In my personal opinion, that I think that we're always going to battle a craving and a reinforcement of sobriety. And if we can, and we're always going to have triggers and these cravings, and it's a matter of what we do with these cravings, that's insatiable sometimes, and we're almost going to succumb to it. It's a matter of what we do. And this is not just about drugs, and I'm talking about, this can relate to discipline, right? Of how we deal with our problems as they come up, rather than not focusing on it. Because it's really easy to just, for me to get some blow or something, some rips, and just do it whenever I'm stressed out, right? It's easy if I'm, like, say, fighting with an SO. This is an example. It's not happening, but just you guys, right? It's easy for someone to fight with their SO, and then they fuck off, and then they go get smashed at the end of the night. Like, they're just liquored up, and they're doing everything else because that's their coping mechanism, right? It's not good. So whenever I have a craving now, or anything else in life where I know that it's something that I need to really rationalize out, I know for a fact that there's something better out there, something to live for. So the reinforcement of sobriety comes in, just like the things that I mentioned to you. Am I gonna really want to do I really want to do that $10 fucking rip, man? Sometimes when I know that $10 will turn into 1,000, because there's never just one for me. There's no in between. There's no one or drink is one, or I will drink I'm 100, and now I'm 155 pounds. Believe it or not, I was like 173 in like October. Crazy. And And I completely forgot what I was just gonna say right there. But yeah. And this addiction thing, it really helps me stay focused with you guys. Okay. But what I'm getting to is it took me a long period of time to get to this progression level of budgeting, right? Because back then, I'm gonna relate to you guys a story that, like, imagine working a shitty job and saving up. I'm dead serious. I'm not making fun of you guys. You know, I'm making fun of myself back then. I worked a shitty job making 40 to 50K a year. That's shitty to me because of what I did. No, it was a great job, great pay, whatever. 50K, we'll say, okay? And so you're like working this super stressful job, right? And the only release is, and you don't make that much, but a large portion of it basically goes towards blow. You're basically that weekend warrior, or you're drinking, right? Or you're consuming in something that's not good. So then I originally thought to myself, I'm gonna make more money so I can actually buy more drugs. That's fucked up, right? Yeah, I'm just being 1,000% honest. And I would literally blow all my savings in one weekend of partying, and then I would have this massive regret and doubt. And then that's why I wanted to start making more money. And so now I'm gonna show you guys kind of what I spend a month, okay? I use something called Coho. Coho is a prepaid Canadian credit card that I like using, right? I don't like to use any of these big banks, put it that way. So on average month, I'll spend about $10,000. We're not going to talk about how much I make though, okay guys? You're not going to ask that. But know that I save a tremendous amount. I carry, of course, a big holding for crypto. No more XRP though. I sold XRP before, like during that crash, right? And then I keep Ethereum only now and Bitcoin, right? Where I hedge, and I manage it really well, my positions, put it that way, for a longer term perspective. And a lot of it just goes towards, like, kind of like these transfers just goes in between like friends and stuff, but it goes to another bank. But that's kind of what I spend, okay? But the transfers definitely counts as that. So this month was kind of a bad month. November was very expensive, where I spent $5,500 on Christmas presents mainly. So and I don't go out to eat or anything, not really much, bills and stuff. That goes on something else. So this month was kind of expensive at 10,000. So this month was really expensive. Christmas even more, right? And I threw my birthday party, of course. That was like a $3,000 night. And then I threw my big condo party, right, at the hotel or whatever. And that was like a $3,000 night again, I think. So now I've stopped throwing a lot of parties. January is my proudest month because the retail is very, very low, right? I didn't really go out to eat or anything. Entertainment's low, traveling, everything is really, really low on here. And all these transfers actually just it went to, like, my girlfriend and I, obviously we managed our money together as well, right? And she helps me a lot, I help her a lot, but this went towards something very, very good that I'm very proud of, which was kind of for us. And it wasn't wasted. So this month was a really good month for me. But still, I'm averaging about 10,000 a month, right? So let's just pull out an Excel spreadsheet now and just talk about basic like budgeting principles of saving, like saving money so you can have more of it, and then perhaps putting into something to let it grow. And this is going to blow some people's minds away. So the average person, I would say, in the States makes about, I don't know about you guys, but I really don't fucking know anybody that averages $97,000, $95,000. That's crazy. There's no, I don't know a lot of people that make more than 50K. I think 50,000 is more of a round number. Don't you guys think that's more relatable, right? I don't want to go to 100K because I don't think that, I know a lot of people that make 100K a year. So some, but not many. So I think 50K is a reasonable number. Okay. So now we're going to create it from scratch. We're going to say 50K salary, which is equal to 50,000 divided by 12. So that's equal to 4,100 and we'll say 60 a month, okay? So that's actually what you're taking in home right now a month. 4,160. So now that you don't actually make that though, because you're getting taxed 40%. So now you take 4,160 times 0.6, because 0.4 goes to them, the government. So now you're actually left with $2,500 left. Now let's write down all the things that are expenses, okay? First of all, it's going to be your rent or mortgage, whatever, right? And I'm going to say utilities, right? that's heat, hydro, water, whatever, heat, hydro, power, whatever, electricity. And then you got your phone bill, you got your internet bill. I don't need to write bill or internet bill. This is fine, right? You got those bills. You got let's say your home insurance. I hope that some of you guys have that, right? And then there's car payments, right? Not a lot of people buy cars outright. Like when I bought my Nissan 370Z, it's like a sports package touring edition in Magma Red. It was like such a rare find. I walked into the dealership and gave him $40,000 in cash. And that was the first time I was ever able to do that. You should have seen the look on their face. Actually, it was $20,000 in cash and in $100 bills, and then $20K in a money order. So it felt good. So I feel very blessed that I'm able to do that, right? But it took a long time for me to get there, to understand these basic principles of just budgeting and understanding where the money can go and what is done with it, especially as well. I didn't understand shit. I'm not kidding, guys. Like before recently, like in the past 5 years about, I didn't know really. Like it's just kind of like so limited what I knew. Okay, let me just keep going though. So you got your car payment, you got your car insurance, right? And then you got your driver's license. We'll average that to like $30 a year or something like that, right? Your license, because it still adds up. I'm thinking of almost every expense. I'm just gonna put 30 in there before I forget. And then now we're talking about groceries. Like I think an average number that's reasonable for a couple a month is it's about $300 a month, right? I'd say that's realistic. So then you're looking at your rent is say 1,000. That's normal. I'm just inputting these cells into currency here. I don't need decimals. No decimals, please. Okay, sorry about that. I should have prepared ahead of time, but I wanted to do this with you guys right here. Oh, I have to call my lady right now. Shit. I was supposed to call her a while ago. She can wait. It's all good. So then your utility is probably about 100 a month, I'm guessing, for heat, hydro, maybe less, right? Maybe say 60. But if you live here where I am, your heat bill is expensive in winter. So I'm going to average it out to that. Phone bill, we'll say about 60. Internet, we'll say about 60. Home insurance, about 60. Car payments, probably about 100. Actually 200, right? A month? Maybe more. It depends. It could be 250. We'll say it could be about 200. And then you got your car insurance as well, which is about 130. Am I missing anything, guys? Right? Let's say like miscellaneous, like entertainment. Everyone's gonna spend money on stuff, right? Shopping. Some people don't even get the luxury of doing that. Eating out, right? So many different categories. So let's say you and your girlfriend or boyfriend or partner or whatever, husband, wife. Let's say you guys allow yourselves to go for dinner once every 2 weeks, right? I know it sounds extreme that it's so little. Like myself, I go for dinner almost every night with my girl. Like we kind of do everything. So I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. Like not for me. I'm thinking of like back then, like 5 years ago, me. I would have probably went out for dinner once every 2 weeks because that was within my budget. And we're talking like maybe for two people, like $80 tops or like $60 tops. This is like every 2 weeks, so that's $120 a month, right? And we're talking like $60 for dinner, which includes like a drink, etc. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm not a fan of that decimal. Shit. There we go. And then now we're talking about shopping. Let's say you buy yourself something nice once every 2 weeks, right? A piece of clothing, where you're like, the 300 is a lot for two people. I'd say 200. This is for one person. So you're buying yourself like a $50 piece of clothing every 2 weeks, right? So you're buying two things a month. So you're giving yourself $100. That's quite a bit of clothing a year for a lot of people, right? And the entertainment, we'll put the eating out thing here for like you and whoever, right? And then entertainment, we'll say it's just 100 for shits and giggles, going to the bar or whatever, right? And even if I added this up now, I don't think I'm really missing anything, right? And then, if you got glasses like me, you got to get your prescription every year. You got to spend a few hundred on glasses too, right? You got to buy gas now. So let's just factor in the gas car payments and gas will save $40 a month. So that's 240, right? That's crazy when you keep adding these things up. They add up so much, man. And then now let's just take a summary of it. That's crazy. That is fucked up. You guys can't even see it. It doesn't even matter if you can't see it. All I had was this, which is really nothing at all. So you guys could have listened to that just fine. Okay, so sorry about that. Did you guys see earlier when I showed you this part here? I'm not sure if I did the spending here on Facebook. So that's 10,000, right? That's 13,000, 1,000. Like that's crazy. Like 10,000. I'm not doing great myself in terms of going over. I just didn't know if this was minimized or not back then. So if you saw it, just want to catch you guys up. So now I want to hold on. What was I just about to say here? Oh yeah, the budgeting app back there. Okay, so now I'm only making, like, this is a $50,000 Canadian engineering salary. We'll just say this is Canadian dollars. Same shit pretty much, right? These numbers are relatable. So that's a pretty decent job as an engineer. That's making $25 an hour. The minimum wage here I think is 11 or 12 or 13, right? So then after tax, I'm taking home $2,500. That means that from the $2,500 that I'm making after all my expenses, and this is very modest, barely, like, I'm spending to live $2,200, which means there's a $300 savings, which means if you save that much every single month, you would have only $3,600 end of a year. Okay, keep saving for that one vacation, right? You know what I mean? Keep saving for that one vacation. And then just go to like Vegas or something, or Cancun, like most people kind of do lately, and they just get smashed. That's what I used to do. I would work my ass off and I would save to go on a vacation so I can go get smashed somewhere else, and I regret spending all my money. I didn't have a good time. I regretted it. I could have drank at home. Isn't that crazy how some people do that? That they literally work this hard in such a good field, and it's so limited for what they can still spend because of just the basic necessities. I don't know if you guys would even, if this is even arguable. This is like legit budgeting right here to the nth degree, right? Usually you should spend only 80%, or sorry, 30% of your rent, of your gross income, right? So 30% of 25, we'll just say is about 850. So this is a little on the high side. That might be on the high side as well. Actually, not really. Actually, yeah, it might be. Because if you're living in a small place, it's not going to be that much. The home insurance probably really cheap. It's probably like 25 a month, I'm guessing. Depending on how much. You probably have a decent plan. My phone plan's only 40. My internet's 100 though, because I go for the fastest. Car payments, this sounds about right. With gas, driver's license, or car insurance, maybe 100 for a more pleasure one. Driver's license added 30 a month for the year. Yeah, 360, 400 a year. Very cheap on groceries. So now maybe this guy can save $420. 420 saved. So now you're taking 420 times 12. Then now you're saving $5,000. There you go. You just earned yourself a vacation. So then I used to really just work my ass off exactly like this. And where the fuck did it get me? It got me wanting to really unwind, working at a shitty fucking job. Hated it. So it made me want to unwind, so I just partied. Imagine people who work in like construction and stuff like that. The majority of people in the construction field, they do drugs. You know, they're fucking tired at the end of the day, man. It's kind of like they'll even do it on their site, because they're so tired, like doing blow just to keep them up, and then it becomes a habit and a vicious cycle. So the main reason why I want to learn a lot more about money is simply because I just had enough of that shitty lifestyle of just partying so hard. I wanted to make more at first, to buy more, but really it came down to just wanting more for myself, right? So what I've learned from this is that in school, they really don't teach you anything. They don't teach you anything like this at all about proper budgeting or what to expect in real life. I really firmly believe that school and post-secondary, what they do is it's like a herd mentality, right? Yes, they do. They do try to give you an open mind, right? They want to teach you how to have critical thinking, so you can be well-rounded. But at the same time, if you're not in the academia route, doing like your honors or your masters or PhD and shit, which is even harder to get a job actually if you're a master's or a PhD, because you might be overqualified. Trust me, I know all about this because one of my exes, she's now I was with her for a long time. She's now like a doctor. She has a PhD from what I hear, right? So I remember the field very well of just going through that academia route, right? But I think that they try to force you into some sort of skill set basically through education, right? Whether it's a trade skill or not, right? To some degree, and then you're basically just being integrated, getting ready to be integrated into the workforce. But they don't teach you about things like how much you should be saving, what you can do with it. They just teach you that you need to be a proper member of society that contributes by working and paying your taxes and doing shit like that. You didn't learn any of this stuff in high school. You guys didn't even hear about the stock market in high school or even had any exposure to it, right? It's not like that at all. They don't teach you risky things. They just teach you that you need to have goals. You need to have a plan in school. You need to get post-secondary education. You're talking to a guy right now. This guy right here, me, I didn't graduate high school till I was 20 fucking 3. And I went to university and shit for like 7 years overall and did kind of shitty. Barely went to classes. And now I'm definitely doing pretty well. Enough to spend 10,000 a month, I guess, and pay for things in cash up front anytime. So it's kind of nice. But it took me a long time to realize this is shitty, guys. This spreadsheet that I just showed you is so shitty. And it comes down to the individual motivation to actually want to succeed and want better for themselves. And I'm speaking about it from the perspective of myself of being an addict before, where it's so important for me to stabilize, normalize. Otherwise, that slope is really slippery and I don't want to be there ever again, right? And then, right, this is how I got started, guys. This is actually my exact motherfucking, like, no joke, like hands down, almost exactly how it was for me 6 years ago in that boat, where I'm saving $400 to $500 a month. Do you guys know what I did with that $400 to $500? I bought video cards. I was buying AMD Athlon X2 motherboards with 6G PCI Express slots, right? And then where I was using those ribbon cables to extend. I was mining Ethereum. And I'll show you guys this. You guys are gonna be like, Philicon, how to mine fast and easy. Watch this. I wrote this in March of the 23rd of 2016. 2016. This was my guide. I had this article has 1 million fucking views. I wrote a guide on how to mine Ethereum. It was very hard back then. Crazy, this article. I basically wrote something like, when something this rare comes along, when something with this much opportunity comes along, believe in it like how I believe in it. Believe in Ethereum, tell the world. March 16th, this was when it was $10. $10. Like, I'm not kidding. It was so cheap. And I was like, it was cheaper than that maybe. Like 2017? Or 2016, what was it? I have a very important point, guys, don't worry. Bitfinex, I like you, Bitfinex. This is what it was. I was mining it there. 2016, guys, $10. Yep, I caught that wave, all right? You guys know my story very well, where I fucking tore it up around here, right? Oh, no, not there. The $350 range, that's where I sold roughly. Up there, man. And then I sold it, and then I bought this freaking breakout, right? I brought this breakout. I'm like, guys, if it breaks, buy it. And then everyone bought it. I remember that because this was making a beautiful symmetric triangle. So I sold around 350 and I kept buying on the dip, on the retracement because we were bullish. And then $400, right? I saved up about 200 Ethereum in a year of mining in 2016. 200 Ethereum, that's a lot. That was like $2,000 worth, right? And then I bought another 200 Ethereum. So I had 400 Ethereum. And I bought the 200 Ethereum for like $10 roughly, right? In 2017. And I had 200 I mined. And this was like around 2017 of February, maybe March, right? And then that's where I that's where I quit my job, 2017. I quit my job and I never looked back on it once in 2017 of March. And then all of a sudden, July came around and I sold 200 Ethereum at $350. So I automatically turned into 100,000 there. first time ever seeing that money in my life, fuck, no joke, man. Like that changed my life, right? Oh shit, that got to me. Yep, that changed my life. Fuck. So why would you ever want to regress? Why would you ever want to go back to where you were in your life before? Like I'm looking at you guys. I know you're going through shit. Everybody is. But when you learn something really basic, such as I bet you a lot of people have never even opened up a budgeting thing like this, and I bet a lot of people are saying, I knew all this already. But when you actually see it with your own eyes, the money that you saved and the discipline you need to have to maintain some sort of level of normality for day-to-day life, this shit needs to be seen and understood. It needs to be broken down. And like now myself, I could never revert back to where I was because I see where I was before 4 years ago when I put everything on a piece of paper that I'm like, I want to take this right there. You guys see it? The $400 saved a month. I want to fucking do something with it, you know? And I did. And I believed in the market so much. And then now, the goal is to find something small, in my personal opinion. And we're all here together in crypto. And it's Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even know I was on the phone call. I'm sorry about that, guys. I thought I paused it there. I'm honestly just I talked to my girl's parents. I'm like, I hope you both enjoy the flowers as well, and it brightens the house even more. And her mom said back to me, the flowers are beautiful. Victoria is very lucky to have such a thoughtful person in her life. That's kind of sweet, right? That's super sweet. I love her parents. And like it just keeps reminding me of how you get to a point in your life of really understanding where you are. And I know it might seem so simple right now for me to say, but this right here in front of you, if you go through the steps of acknowledging where you are, you will know what you can save, which will then allow you to come up with a direction of how you want to proceed to grow something. It just starts with the plan, right? If you need to change something, then change it and fix it. Because just thinking about it and planning about it all day without taking action is not going to do anything at all. Okay? If you really do have something to live for, like right now, just as an example, right? My girlfriend and I, we're planning a pretty epic vacation very, very soon. We're going to settle into our place March the 1st, right? After the move in, where I am at least first. She's far outside the city. It's just too much stuff. It's not going to work out yet, right? That we're going to probably take a really epic vacation. And, we have a lot of goals right now. Like, we want to, I can't wait to give her like a Valentine's Day kind of thing. I usually don't get people gifts or anything, but it's kind of like having good family goals where you want to work hard towards sustaining something that you think is precious, like I mentioned, right? Because you guys are precious, your time is precious. Therefore, you should value yourselves. Okay, affirm yourselves every day. That, like, I think that a lot of you are here is because maybe you look up to me, maybe you've seen something in me that has sparked inspiration and motivation, right? That's what I'm guessing. And I'm not here to chastise anybody or act like I know more than you or less than you. I believe that we're all strangers in the world that are just going through their own walks in life, and that we can learn from each other, and we're on the same similar plateau to share experiences. And I've had a very blissful, is that a word, experience of having to really journey through things like being in poverty, man. Like growing up, like you guys have no fucking idea. Like coming here as I was born in Thailand, right? And I'm Laotian. I'm from Laos. My parents saved up every single dollar that they had just to pay some guy to smuggle them. It gets me every time I tell this story. So sorry, eh? So yeah, my parents paid somebody to smuggle them from like basically Laos to Thailand, right? And they would have been shot dead. My brother and I were not even born yet because my parents went to the refugee camp where they were there total for 5 years. That's where I was born. Yeah, my brother too. And my brother's not here anymore, right? Like he kind of disappeared about 4 years ago. I'm sure that he chooses not to talk to the family for whatever reasons. So, I got shit on baggage too, right? But once again, these are not problems to me. These are possibilities for me. For example, I have the opportunity to take care of my parents to show that my older brother doesn't need to do it, and that I'm very mature, very responsible, very level-headed, very focused, very dedicated, very determined, just being a better person than I was yesterday, right? And I kid you not, just this little thing here made me realize that fuck, I'm just not fucking happy at all. And you guys should see if you're happy with your projections and where you are. And if you're not, you're here with me in crypto because of one specific reason, and that's because I fucking kill it, and that's a fact, right? I think I'm a very good leader, and I have the capability of tremendously growing anybody's skills in this game or providing incredible insight to the point where you will learn from it. So ask yourselves after you make a little list like this, right? And where you stand with everything. Are you happy with what you save and what can you do with it, right? Unfortunately, it's too late, obviously, to get into a big bull market for like 2017 and 2020, but there's still opportunities to do something with that in terms of trading, right? I think that crypto market is very, very new. We're very much so early adopters, and there's a lot of room to grow. And I think that if you are here because of 2017, you probably did decent. 2020, I'm guessing, the big bull year. If you were in both bull markets, you were, I mean, if you came into the game because you heard Bitcoin went up in 2017, but you weren't in it, then you joined us for 2020, kind of, or much later. But if you're in both bull markets like me, actually all three for me, 2016 had mini one too. You're very much so experienced. You can't learn just by observing, right? Paper trading is kind of bullshit to me, to be quite honest now. Put in 20 bucks and trade with it. You'll feel a lot better because you'll actually see a real number. You'll actually see a real position. You'll actually use the real user interface, right? So like the way that I see money as well is really unique and different than to you. Okay, the way that I see it, oh gosh, I gotta wrap it up in 10. Sorry guys, I don't want to pause the video. I'm trying to get a haircut and see my lady today. So yeah, she's always a big part of my life, right? It's kind of how family is, right? So I don't have a big group of friends or anything because it's not necessary anymore. And I think a lot of people actually just bring me down, kind of. You want to make sure that we're averaging ourselves with like-minded people that can grow us, and definitely intellectually, right? And I'm not talking about only hang out with people that make the same amount of money as you. No, not at all. I'm talking about be around people that are just wonderful to be around. And I'm going to name some of my friends here. Yeah, like, if you guys are watching this video of mine, like, Xavier is one of my really good friends. I love him. You're such a great friend to me, man. Ryan, right? You're such an awesome dude. And Jay, you're fucking amazing. And Krim from Morocco, right? Like, I've got four really good friends that I can definitely count on, and they probably want to kill me sometimes, but they're a big source of my motivation as well. I used to kind of hate them, but it's me hating myself, right? So understand this, because I would blame people for my problems, and that was horrible. It's like, you guys are enablers or whatever. Like, just giving an example, which is not even true, the enabling part, but I'm just giving an example. And then I realized after I fucked up so badly, $30,000 of drugs in 1 month. This is just 2 years ago. That you know what, like, not really cool how I was. I started to realize that I was blaming myself, and what my friends did was they cut me off for good so I can pick myself back up, right? Because the test of a true character is determined by how much they could persevere through adversity. You cannot just get stuck there and literally stand still and be wounded. No, don't be wounded. Be wise instead. You have a choice when you want to make a commitment or a decision to grow in any way or to change something. You have a decision to be wounded or to actually be wiser from every negative thing that has impacted your life. I remember doing this actually like 5 years ago, six almost. And I remember that number, about 400 to 500 I would save. And I said to myself, holy fuck, I'm going to be poor for the rest of my life. And then I do the math for my parents, okay? When they worked two full-time jobs, making like what, $6 an hour back then, and then with kids growing up. I don't even have kids, so I'm not putting in kids here. But if you guys have kids, you can figure out the cost of all that, right? It's So imagine being an immigrant with minimum wage jobs, with two little kids where the mom can't work, obviously, and then my dad had to work full time for two fucking jobs. And then, like, can you imagine the penny pinch? When I did that, it broke my fucking heart, man. That, like, our parents, when they move here, they will give everything to us and work like 18-hour days just to provide something better for us. And I'm sorry to say, but like, but a lot of people that grew up here, that were born here, like, first, second, third, like third generation, they don't get that shit at all. They will never understand the values coming from an immigrant that grew up like in a refugee camp, where my dad and my mom, they worked their asses off for us. And that is the fucking spark that you need to have, the family spark. Better for yourself. Like, I love my parents, my mom, dad, Luna, even though we're not always on the best terms, right? But there's still that unconditional support that I know is inherently there and innate, right? That's what family's for. I wanna make sure I give everything to everyone I love that deserves my time, that treats me as a priority and not an option, right? So I wanna, for example, my girlfriend Victoria, right? I want to give her the world. I'm probably like the cheesiest, fucking sappiest, most romantic person in the world. But you know what? I think that anybody would be lucky to be with me when I think about it now, because of my stability. My sense of humor is pretty funny most of the times. Like, I know I'm a catch. I want to give my partner the world. That means a lot to me, to show my parents, her parents, that everything is good and we're grown up now and responsibilities have taken over. And you get to a point in your life where really want to make that change. Need to smoke this. I hope you guys don't mind. Yeah, you really need to make that change. And seeing this number here, like, when you think of having kids too, there's no fucking way you're gonna get by even to the end of the month. That's ridiculous. If you had kids, you'd probably be upping that a lot. You're gonna have a bigger house. Your rent's gonna be more. Everything is just gonna be more overall. More groceries, more entertainment, more shopping, more less eating out probably. So a lot of things change depending on your specific circumstance, right? So imagine saving $500 a month, $5,000 a year as an engineer, where you can only take one vacation and you're basically working the whole fucking year just to live. And then all of a sudden you go on one vacation for a week and you just blew it. And then you do the whole same shit for 50 weeks all over again. Fuck that, man. Is that really what you want? Do you really want to go to a job where you're just treated like you're just an employee? You're bribed with a salary or a wage to forget your dreams. And the harder you work for a private company, the nicer of a car your boss gets. I don't want that shit. Guys, check this out. Fuck yeah. That's kind of nice to be able to put my feet on the table and not have a boss yell at me. I can wake up when I want. I can do anything I want, kind of, like, in terms of freedom wise. Just in time. I'm talking about time, not money. And it's nice to have that. In my opinion, right, since we're here on this topic of budgeting and crypto and me, I really recommend that. And I had a what was it, $100 to $1,600 in 16-day challenge. Fuck, man, if I can do that, anybody can if they put enough effort, right? I got the 5,000 to 10,000 challenge. I got the 20,000 to the 20 to $25,000 challenge. I did the $2,000 challenge to the $5,000 challenge. Like, and it's just a matter of somehow finding a way of gaining some interest on what you have. And interest can come in, it could be passive, right? It could be directly, such as trading. So I find that even 1% adding up to that 420, you're still going to be making $4, right? That's 1%, and then you just keep compounding it over and over. And that was the ultimate goal, to basically take a number, compound it enough times over a period of months, each day though. Then that little bit amount, if I got a 1% or 2% trade a day, this thing would be really big over a long period of time, right? So that's kind of like my way of thinking about money. And another thing I think about is, I don't see that as like a number. Okay, I see it more like in hours, because when you are doing something for someone, or what you are spending, when you're paying your rent, your phone, whatever, you're not actually spending money. You're actually spending your own fucking time, because you used your time, which is the most precious commodity that we have in life. It's such a precious resource, and it should not ever be taken advantage of. If I buy you a drink and we're out in public, I didn't spend $10. I actually gave you a fraction of my life that I used to earn that income for you, right? So I treat money really seriously, because it's a fucking huge part of my time, right? I think I babbled for too long. I'm gonna go, guys. Have yourselves a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video of mine. See you.